When we speak about death, we often imagine it as a boundary, a line that separates the known from the unknown, the comfort of the visible world from a mysterious realm that lies beyond our final breath. Yet across cultures, religions, and centuries of human longing, a remarkable pattern emerges. The dying do not simply encounter an external God, but the deepest architecture of their own conscience. In moments near death, the mind does not behave like a passive observer. Instead, it becomes a vast stage on which one's beliefs, memories, virtues, fears, and unhealed moral wounds take on form, color, and voice. What one sees at the threshold of death is not random. It is the shape of one's inner moral universe, projected outward with the vividness of a spiritual vision. This is why Buddhists may see bodhisattvas, Christians may see angels, and Muslims may hear the thunderous echo of divine judgment. But beneath these different images lies a single philosophical truth. At death, we confront the mirror of our own conscience, and that mirror takes the symbolic form we are most capable of understanding. Christian imagery, the procession of mercy. If the departed person was a Christian believer, they may encounter what appears to be a procession of divine mercy. A gold radiance rises before them. But this light is not the Buddhist Samantabhadra instead. It unfolds gently into the warm, maternal face of the Virgin Mary. Her smile carries the tenderness of a mother comforting a frightened child. Behind her, angels in white robes form an endless procession, and celestial harmonies shimmer like threads of gold falling from the heavens. "Child, do not fear," she whispers. The voice is soft, like a mother leaning close to soothe a sobbing child. In her hand she holds not a lotus, but a rose intertwined with a small crucifix, a symbol of both suffering and redemption. Overwhelmed, the soul begins to weep. "Lord, I have committed so many sins." Memories surge forward, moments of deceit, acts of selfishness, betrayals of love. Then the atmosphere changes. The heavenly choir falls silent. The angels' faces grow solemn. Their wings ignite in a blaze, and their radiant eyes sharpen into the sternness of judgment. "Mercy does not reach the heart that refuses repentance," a voice declares. Mary's smile fades. Her radiance shifts into the unyielding brilliance of divine justice. The soul collapses to its knees, but the light envelops him regardless. His sins, once hidden, become transparent, illuminated by the piercing clarity of conscience. And only then does the dying person realize the figures he encountered were not external beings. They were the manifested truth of his own conscience, shaped by the religious symbols he trusted throughout life. He has seen judgment not from the outside, but from within. Muslim imagery, the light of Allah, Nur Allah. If the dying person was a Muslim believer, then on the second day, another kind of light may appear. The golden, trembling radiance of Allah's Nur, the divine light. But this is not the compassionate glow of a Buddhist bodhisattva. It is the light of divine clarity, the light that reveals all truths. Within this brilliance appear two angels dressed in white munkar and nakir, the interrogators of the grave, the guardians of truth. They stand firm and solemn. Did you offer your prayers while alive? Did you refrain from falsehood? Did you give charity to the poor? The soul trembles. Yes, I believed in Allah, but I was not perfect. Their eyes cool, like steel in winter. The golden light darkens into a burning red, becoming a flame of interrogation. The angels are no longer gentle envoys, they embody divine justice. You believed, they say, but you did not fully surrender. The heavens open, revealing countless eyes. Watching him, the eyes of ultimate truth. The man collapses, crying out, "Allahu Akbar," yet fear weighs heavily upon his voice. Suddenly the angels vanish. the heavenly brilliance dissolves, and the dying person realizes that he is sinking into the shadow of his own fears, a realm constructed from his incomplete obedience and lingering guilt. The light of Allah he saw was not an external deity descending from the sky, but the symbolic expression of his faith, his fear, and the moral imprint of the life he lived. The philosophical insight. In these encounters, whether Christian or Muslim, something remarkable becomes clear. Death confronts each soul with the shape of its own conscience. The symbols differ, the doctrines differ, the languages of the visions differ. But what shines through all of them is one universal truth. No one escapes the spiritual truth of their own life. The afterlife in these narratives is not merely a place. It is a revelation, the unveiling of the heart. And this is why these stories are not just religious tales. They are mirrors held up to us, urging us to ask, what do we carry within us? What truths have we avoided? What judgment might our own conscience reveal when all disguises fall away? These questions matter deeply, not only at death, but now in the lives we are living at this very moment. If reflections like these, where philosophy, psychology, and spiritual tradition converge, speak to you, I invite you to stay with this channel. Your subscription helps this community grow, and it allows us to explore these deeper questions together with clarity, humility, and courage. In the previous section, we explored how believers, whether Christian or Muslim, encounter at death not merely external divine beings, but the symbolic radiance of their own conscience, clothed in the religious imagery most familiar to them. The Virgin Mary's compassion, the stern angels of judgment, the blazing nur of Allah, all these appear as mirrors of the soul's deepest moral architecture. But this insight leads us to a profound question. If conscience manifests itself through the symbols of faith, what happens when a person has no faith at all? What appears before someone who insists that no God exists, no afterlife awaits, and no spiritual realm lies beyond death? At first glance, one might assume that an atheist would simply encounter nothing, pure oblivion, endless darkness. But the human mind, at the threshold of death, does not simply dissolve into silence. It turns inward, revealing whatever truths the person carried within themselves, regardless of belief. And so we enter the next scene, the death experience of a non-believer, the atheist experience, the self confronting the self. If the deceased was an atheist, then on the second day the scene begins much differently. No angels appear. No divine light rushes toward him. No ritual symbols rise from the horizon of consciousness. Instead, he remains in darkness, a deep, still void that feels neither hostile nor comforting, just empty. But then the darkness slowly begins to shift. A faint gold tint seeps into the blackness, as though a distant sun were rising behind layers of fog. The man forces a laugh. This must be a neurochemical misfire, he mutters to himself. Just a hallucination. The brain shutting down. He clings to this explanation, like a lifeline, for it is the only framework he trusts. Yet the golden glow continues to expand, and within it silhouettes begin to form, not divine figures, not angels, not gods, but simple human shapes. Silent, still indistinct at first. He steadies himself. Who are they? What is this? The figures do not speak. They merely smile, a soft, quiet smile that feels strangely familiar. A sensation stirs within him. Not fear, not awe. Something far more unsettling recognition. In that moment, understanding strikes him with the force of revelation. These figures are the people he wounded during his life, the ones he dismissed, the vulnerable individuals he overlooked or belittled, the broken relationships he refused to repair, the kindness he withheld when it mattered most. The smile on their faces begins to twist, not in cruelty, but in sorrow, the sorrow of truth long denied. He tries to run, but there is nowhere to go. There is no God condemning him, no angel blocking his path. The walls closing around him are made of his own memories, his own actions, his own choices. This isn't a hell created by some deity, he cries. This is a hell created by me. The golden light turns red, pulsing like a furnace. Every memory he tried to bury ignites, burning with painful clarity. The people he hurt step closer, not to accuse him, but simply to exist undeniable, unescapable. He screams into the glowing emptiness. If there is no God, then why am I being judged? Why is this happening? Amid the flames, a quiet voice rises, not divine, not supernatural, but emerging from somewhere deep inside him. This judgment was always yours. You have been judging yourself all along, and in that moment he understands. There is no external judge, no supernatural tribunal. The light he sees is not God. It is the illumination of his own conscience, the memory of every truth he denied, every hurt he justified, every responsibility he refused to bear. He has not encountered a deity. He has encountered himself. The self he avoided, the self he feared, the self he refused to acknowledge during life. It is not a divine mirror. It is the mirror he has been carrying within him all his life. The philosophical meaning, a universal mirror. When we place the Christian vision, the Muslim vision, and the atheist vision side by side, a remarkable pattern emerges. For the Christian, conscience appears as the Virgin's mercy and the angel's judgment. For the Muslim, it appears as the blazing nur and the stern interrogation of Munkar and Nakir. For the atheist, conscience appears as the silent procession of memories, the unavoidable truth of every harm ever inflicted. Different symbols, different languages, different cosmologies. Yet beneath all of these experiences lies one universal principle. Death does not introduce us to a new moral reality. Death reveals the moral reality we shaped within ourselves. Religious people meet their conscience in the forms their hearts understand. Atheists meet their conscience directly, without symbols to soften the blow. This does not diminish religion, nor does it exalt unbelief. Rather, it unveils a profound psychological and spiritual truth. In the end, every soul stands before the truth of its own life, and that truth takes the form we are most prepared to see. This is why these death narratives matter. They are not mere mythology. They are philosophical meditations on the nature of conscience, responsibility, and the inner life. And for us who are still living, they pose a gentle but urgent challenge. What truths are we avoiding today? What harm have we left unattended? What light or what shadow are we shaping within ourselves? For whatever we shape now is what we may one day encounter. If this exploration of conscience, death, and human moral psychology resonates with you, I invite you to stay with this channel. By subscribing, you help this community grow, a community dedicated to thoughtful, compassionate, and courageous inquiry into the mysteries of life and the truths that shape us. Let us continue this journey together.